It's 8:05.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Random Encounter Podcast, episode 107. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by the man, the master of the dress sphere, Bryant.
I like that. Coming live from Silent Hill.
Yeah, and you got that, what is that, a Black Mage shirt?
Yep.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I was thinking about that today. It's like, what am I gonna call Brian? Because like, fan we have as fanboy, because that's his name. So I was like, when I introduce fan, I say the fanboy himself, Phaneckswhy, who's also here with us. But like,
So
I was like, what would your name be? And I'm like, the Dresssphere Master. It's Final Fantasy. You like RPGs? Dresssphere from Final Fantasy X too. That a lot of people did not like the game. Um, but I think it's a great
So it's a
great
little
game.
different.
Yeah, it's different. Like the dress for your system, that was great. Like I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good job class change, and it's actually a precursor to 13 with the paradigm shift type of deal because it's very similar. Um, but yeah, that's your new title, the dress for your master.
I'm down.
Yeah. But it's probably going to be like a shorter episode this week. I didn't really get to see all the news. As I mentioned last week, me and Fan and Ash were all preparing for hurricane this week, which we did get hit by the hurricane. Ash is not with us because he still currently doesn't have power, and he's, I believe, in Gainesville right now, relaxing and, not having to worry
I'm so
about
glad.
this.
I'm so glad you didn't let that linger. You weren't like Ash isn't with us.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's
Oh.
with his friends.
Yeah, he's with. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, not say it that way. Not in like Ash is no longer here
We're dealing
or
with
anything
this
like
hurricane. Ash isn't with us. Oh,
that.
he's in game.
Yeah, no, he's in this world still, but he's not here today with us. There, to better contact. But yeah, we're all good. Power came back on Friday for me, so like I was kind of like, trying to see what did I miss because I didn't really spend a lot of time kind of going through the news. Like I was conserving battery as much as I can because we didn't know exactly how long we were going to be without power. Fan was here, blessed that he didn't have to worry about that. He had power the whole time. He just was flooded around his area,
He was just
which
laying back, chilling out,
yeah.
enjoying his power, while
yep.
James was having to hunker down, like the end of the world and all the rest.
Hey, some positives came out of it though. My kids were playing real games again, which is a positive.
Good,
My oldest started playing Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, so good
nice.
game. My
You did
daughter
good, James.
my daughter got into what was it? Super Smash Brothers 3DS. She was playing my 3DS the whole time. So that and Animal Crossing.
Nice.
My second oldest son, he was actually playing Gravity Circuit. He actually beat Gravity Circuit
Oh,
throughout the whole thing because we have a
good game.
second Steam Deck. I was like, man, like you beat it before me, and I was playing it. But yeah, he was like literally playing nonstop, and yeah, he beat Gravity Circuit. Good game. For those of you who don't know what Gravity Circuit is, it's a Mega Man like. So if you like Mega Man, it's Mega Man but with fists. You punch instead of shooting. And then my youngest son, he was just playing like Apple Arcade Crayola Create and Play, I think it's called, which was good. He was playing it on the iPad. It like teaches you like letters and numbers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we all came out safe, no damage to the houses or anything like that, which is nice. Um, yeah, was crazy. Was crazy. I would say that I was excited because like it was late at night Wednesday night, and I'm like, okay, the eye is already passing us. I was like, cool, we're gonna go through this hurricane without losing power, and then at 11:40
Boom.
p.m. power's gone. I was like, no, but we got it back quick, so happy about that.
Good. I'm glad everybody's safe and sound.
Yeah,
And
me
And your kids
me
have a new
too.
appreciation for games.
Yes, they
I do
do.
have to say, like having move things into the house,
Hmm.
like our lanai is a lot cleaner now than when we first moved in.
Does it like forced you to like figure it out?
Yeah, we got rid of some stuff and
Nice.
cleaned
Yeah.
up. The only damage I have is like 80% of my rear fence is gone.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Pat's saying that power's still out over there, man. Man, hopefully you get it back soon, man. I know there's still a lot of people without power. That's what I say. I feel blessed that we were able to get power so soon. Because I had to go to work, and a lot of people are still without power. Gas stations are still pretty crazy. I'm making it sound like the hurricane disaster is over, but no, there's still a lot of people out there that don't have power that are fighting over to get gas, and gas seems a little bit more available now than it was the past 2 days. So yeah, the disaster's still there, and there's still a lot of bad on there. The super nice outside though. Yeah, that's the positive though. It's been pretty cool outside. So those days that I didn't have power, it was nice and cool outside.
Yeah, no,
even during the day.
We didn't run the AC for 2 days
Yeah.
during the day. We just
Yeah.
opened up the windows, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Luckily, I will have to say, because of Irma, like Florida, Tampa area probably were more prepared for this one for Milton because of Irma.
Yeah. Yeah, or Ian.
Like-
That was 2 years ago.
Well,
like
Ian didn't really hit Tampa. It
Mhm.
hit Fort Myers.
No, Irma hit for Myers. Ian did
No,
hit us. Yeah, because I was without power over here for a week when Ian hit, and I was living in Fort Myers when Irma hit, and I was without power for 2 weeks when Irma hit because that was a Category 5 and we got destroyed there.
because Ian didn't hit us at all. I'm pretty sure it went in like Sarasota
Nope, it was our area.
No, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Let's have some hardcore hurricane talk on the random.
Hey man, I
podcast.
work for an
Yeah.
insurance
Random
company, so
podcast.
like I
Yeah.
know.
Oh, you know your stuff.
Yeah.
It passes half power at work. Headed to the office to rebuild all the Macs.
Yeah, it was Irma. Irma did the whole like went up and like straight through central Tampa, Florida. Like by the time it reached Tampa, it was like a Category 1,
Yeah.
but it still went through. It went straight up.
Yeah.
Ian just went like up and across like that way, kind of like what Milton did, except it started in the Caribbean instead of the Gulf.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Irma hit us directly because I remember I was out of power for 3 days because of Irma.
I have to debate you off the podcast on that.
I'm pretty sure.
I can't weigh in.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Like you can Google the path for, but I'm like 99% sure.
But like Brian said, we are not a weather channel, so we won't debate weather on here. Let's go ahead. Like I said, it's going to be a pretty, I think, quick, possibly podcast.
We say that every time, then it goes to 2 hours anyway.
I do. It does, right?
Find ways to fill time.
I personally couldn't find anything new, so at the end, if you guys see something that I missed, definitely say it at the end. But yeah, let's go ahead and start off with some small news. Mario and Luigi Brothership overview trailer came out, where they were showing off, pretty much what Mario and Luigi Brothership's about. I'm pretty digging it. I like the art style. The stuff that they showed and like how you traverse like island to island seems pretty cool. And it looks like a Mario and Luigi game. I mean, it looks pretty dope. I like the art style, like I said. Mechanics look pretty fun, and overall, I'm really feeling it. What about you guys? Are you guys considering getting Mario and Luigi, or is it like a pass?
I already have it pre-ordered with my Switch voucher. I'm not watching any more coverage of it because I'm buying. I'd rather go in fresh.
Yeah.
So I saw that trailer with you when we streamed that one time, but beyond that, that's all I've seen.
Gotcha. What about you, Fan?
I actually haven't played any of the Mario Luigi games at all, so I don't know too much about the game itself. I probably won't pick it up right when it comes out, just because there's too many other games that I'm focusing on. I mean, I might get it like later, later down the line, maybe when it drops or goes on sale, but not right now.
Did you ever pick up Super Mario RPG, the remake?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I picked that up day one.
Because I believe a lot of people say that this is closer to Super Mario RPG than Paper Mario is, which is why a lot of people are huge fans of the franchise.
When you say Paper Mario, you're talking about Thousand Year Door or Origami King?
OG, like Paper Mario 64 and like Thousand Year Door. Yeah, not Origami King. Because pretty much after Thousand Year Door, they strayed off to like a totally different path. Where Mario and Luigi's pretty much been RPG.
Sticker Star.
Yeah. Though Super Mario RPG is still better overall. Like I've tried, was it Bowser's Inside Stories, the one I was playing on 3DS, and I do enjoy it, but Super Mario RPG is just an RPG, like a traditional RPG, and I really like it. Like the other day, I have some of the music just stuck in my head. I was like, man, I might replay that game again, very very soon because I really really enjoyed Super Mario RPG a lot more than I thought I was. And yeah, I really do agree with a lot of people where they say it's one of the best RPGs ever made, and definitely is definitely holds up there with a lot of the other great RPGs. I got to play some Mario Party Jamboree the other day, and I say the other day, that was actually yesterday. But I got to play Mario Party Jamboree, and it's actually pretty good. It feels like old school Mario RPG, Mario Party. Feels like old school Mario Party. They have some returning like remixed versions of like older mini games. Such as like Shy Guy Says and things like that. But they also have a bunch of brand new mini games as well, and it was fun. Like it feels like classic Mario Party. When I talk about classic, I'm talking about like GameCube and before that. I'm not talking about like the newer stuff because the newer stuff it's just like in my opinion just not the same. So it feels very classic Mario Party, and I think it's going to be a good game. From what I played, and of course there is a overview trailer that kind of shows off more about it. There's some pretty interesting multiplayer modes out there. That's kind of a first. So there's a lot of things going on in this game, and I do feel that a lot of people should definitely pick this up if you want a fun party game and something similar to old school Mario Party. And the last bit of small news is soon you will be able to stream your purchased Xbox games on your phone. I do wonder, because I could not find this anywhere, if are they confirming that I will be able to personally play my Lost Odyssey game on my phone? That's what I really
Right
want to
now, I
know.
don't think there's some Xbox 360 games that you can't stream. If maybe not, maybe all of
Mm-hmm.
them. Like I tried streaming Final Fantasy 13 through my
Remote
Xbox
play
app, and it tells me that it can't be done.
through like remote play you're talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
So like
cloud might be different, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, cause I know remote play, yeah, you can't play Xbox 360 games at all. Only one in like Series XS games. But yeah, that's
mm,
what I'm wondering. Like with cloud gaming, does that allow us to actually play those games through cloud gaming? Which is what I'm hoping for because I have Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, and I would gladly go ahead and pay Xbox Game Pass just to play Lost Odyssey 1 month, and then cancel it right after that when I don't want to play it anymore. But I think it's pretty neat. It's nice to be able to play my own games now because I thought that was the one thing missing, and that was something that Stadia had that was pretty cool, but it was also a business model that I feel like kind of hurt Stadia at the same time because nobody wanted to buy a game that's just for cloud, where Xbox has the benefit of being an actual platform, like a physical platform that you can purchase and play games on there, but also having the option for cloud gaming as well. So we'll see if PlayStation follows suit and kind of does something similar with their remote play or their cloud gaming and allow it available like on mobile devices and stuff like that, which I think would be pretty cool. What are you guys' thoughts on this overall?
it's another game that I have with my voucher, and looking forward to it very much. I really enjoyed Mario Party, especially like the older ones and everything. So um, yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. What about you, fan?
I might not get it right away.
Mm-hmm.
My kid, I mean, I'd like to play with my kids, but they're still a little too young to kind of be coordinated enough to do some of the stuff. I mean, I'm not a huge Mario Party
Oh, let's
fan
talk about the
or player.
Xbox.
Oh, the Xbox. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, because you guys were talking about Mario Party
Yeah.
Oh
also.
yeah, I was talking about
Uh,
Mario Party too.
Yeah, I was talking
Sorry.
about Xbox.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Xbox.
Oh, for
Because we didn't talk
Xbox,
about
like
Mario Party, we went on to the next step.
yeah, I mean, for Xbox is like meh. I don't really have any really games on my Xbox really for it to affect me.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if it's great for other people, good for them. It's just for me, it doesn't affect me one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox. Yeah, no, that's great. I have a big library, so that's cool to have more access to things like
Yeah.
remotely and everything like that. That's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really play Xbox a ton, so I'm more excited about any sort of functionality that comes to PlayStation Remote Play than Xbox. But
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, they got to be desperate to try to bring more players in and to make Xbox more make people give people incentive to play on Xbox, so they might be pulling all those stops, and I guess the consumers win.
Yeah. No, yeah, like I guess the consumer wins in that note. I mean, yeah, you got to play your games anywhere, but yeah, I agree. Like Xbox seems to be
They're
desperate,
desperate.
where they really want their games on all platforms for some type of like revenue income to like come in, because nobody's buying Xboxes. Like again, I sold my Xbox not that long ago because there's really no need for have that. Like I complain that I don't use my PS5, but like I definitely don't use my Xbox. At least I turned on my PS5 for Final Fantasy 16, for Rebirth, and then for Astrobot, where my Xbox. I mean,
Don't lie,
what
James. I know you
Halo
look at where
Infinite?
your Xbox used to stand, and you look at it longingly with tears in your eyes, wondering what could have been. I know you.
Well, actually, to be fair, there was a few times that I did use my Xbox. That was really to play with my kids. We would play whatever was on Game Pass, so like Gang Beast, um, what else? Animal Party, which was, I talked about it quite a bit. That was a pretty fun game. I'll let my daughter like play Fortnite on there and a bunch of other stuff. Minecraft dungeons and things like that. But now that I don't have it, it's like there's really no need. And all those games that I just mentioned, I could get them on PS5 if I wanted to and play them on there. I think everything except for, no, yeah, everything I mentioned I could play on PS5, no problem. So, there goes that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Like I said, the main thing I really want to know about is, can I play Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon on cloud gaming? Because then I think that would be pretty cool. Even
That'd be
since I don't
sweet.
own an Xbox no more. I mean, better yet, it would be better if they just port it on PC. But it is what it is.
What are you crazy? That's too much to ask for.
Yeah, they won't do it. They won't touch it. Like, uh, yeah, whatever. Anyways, Nintendo had a surprise announcement. Actually, two surprise announcements this week. The first one was kind of out of nowhere, and that is Alarmo. Nintendo announced Alarmo, which is basically what it sounds like. It's an alarm clock that you put by your bed. That's, it's funny because like on Twitter, everybody's saying this is the alarm clock for only people who are single, because it does not work with multiple people in the bed. So yes, it only works if you're single. If you're married, or with somebody else, or whatever the case might be, or you have a pet, it will not work that way. If your pet sleeps on your bed, it's not gonna work properly. You have to be on the bed by yourself. But it's a cool concept. Like, I really dig it. It basically has like different themes, so you could do like Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, Pikmin, and there's one more I'm missing. Ring Fit Adventure. You can do those five with Mario Kart and Animal Crossing coming later on.
It's
And
like
what
what, a downloadable firmware or something, I assume.
yeah, because you can connect it to Wi-Fi, and they said they're gonna do like
Mm.
free updates. But with each of those, there's like different, like, I guess you could say like scenes, kind of. So, like they showed off Mario Odyssey, for example, and you could do different of the a bunch of the different worlds from Mario Odyssey. So you had like New Donk City, which they were showing off, and it would play music while you go to bed, which is pretty cool because like my kids, for example, they already go to sleep to listening to Zelda piano music. So if I can have this calming music instead, like, that would be awesome. But they go to sleep to like Zelda piano music, and here you can kind of choose different levels, or I guess areas of music to play. It kind of plays while you go to bed, and then it also is like a sleep tracker, so it kind of tracks your sleep. I won't say your sleep cycles, but if you're moving around and all that
Your
stuff.
movement.
Yeah, and then when it's time for you to wake up, it slowly wakes you up, and as you're moving and waking up, it starts making like different noises. So again, the Mario example was that like as you move, there's coin noises, which will probably sound very annoying, but he'll start waking you up, and then at the end, once you finally wake up, it rewards you with like a fanfare and stuff like that. Uh, I think it's a cool concept, honestly, and it kind of sucks that it's only for people who sleep by themselves. What do you guys think about this?
Um, so when I was a kid, I would have loved it. I would have thought it's
Hmm.
so cool to have like a Mario alarm clock. Like,
Yeah.
oh my, I would have been all over that. Like, even if I didn't use it as an alarm clock, but just like to have a screen next to my bed that showed like Nintendo stuff, like I
Hmm.
would have lost my mind with excitement.
Yeah.
But that being said, as an old person now, um, like, do either of you guys use alarms like to wake up? Like, do you either you
I
guys
do.
like have to wake up in the morning? You do,
Yeah.
Fan? Do you? Yeah. Okay. So I assume you guys
I have
probably use your phones,
multiple.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Since I have an
So
iPhone, like I have a mount that turns it to landscape and it does like the alarm clock
yeah.
mode. Yeah.
So the reason I bring that up is because I don't know if you guys ever hear like alarms in commercials or like in movies where you hear like the sound of like a phone alarm clock and it
Mm-hmm.
like brings you like I don't know what you call it, like PTSD, where you
PTSD.
feel
Yeah.
like yeah, like where you hear the alarm go off, you're like, oh, I hate that noise. It means I have
Yeah.
to wake up in the morning. That's kind of where I place Alarmo. Like, I don't want to have video games wake me up because then I'll start negatively associating it to waking up in the morning and
It's
like,
a
oh,
good thought.
I'm listening to coins, and then I go to play Mario, and it's like, oh, this is just like waking up in the morning. How great is that? So it's cool, kind of, but on the other hand, not something that I practically would want to use. So.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't think about that aspect, but yeah, you're right. A good example of that is Dragon Quest music. I like it a lot, and when my youngest son was, a lot smaller, I would put him to sleep to Dragon Quest, like the symphonic suite music, and it got to the point where because I played it for him to sleep, when I was playing Dragon Quest, I started falling asleep as I'm playing because the music, was putting me to sleep because I was so used to him putting him to sleep. So yeah, I can see something similar, except that yeah, coin noise would probably annoy me. The default alarm clock thing, like the minute I hear that, it's like right away I jump up and I'm like, oh man, it's that noise again. Which sucks. Which nowadays, like my bed, not my bed, but my wake up time is I got like what do you call it? Like an internal alarm, I guess you could say, where you automatically start waking up at a certain time.
Like your circadian rhythm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock I start waking up because my kids have to go to school. So like right away my body, like even on days that they're off, it's at 6 o'clock I start waking up. So I usually wake up before my alarm goes off, and I'm quick to shut off my alarm because I do not want to hear that noise. But yeah, Fan, what are your thoughts on this?
It's cool, I guess. They could have just made an app.
That is true. That is true. But
I
then
mean, they
wouldn't
already
be
have the
able to.
Nintendo app. Why couldn't they
Mhm.
just integrate that into the Nintendo app?
Make it useful for a change.
Yeah, I mean that is true. But then it wouldn't be able to track your sleep, I feel, and all that other stuff, all those sensors.
Phone has a camera on it, right?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess the closest technology you'll get to what they're using is probably like Face ID, like on an iPhone, but you wouldn't be able to do like on an Android phone that doesn't have anything similar. Because they did like Spawnwave was doing like a deep dive into like the technology, and they have a separate like chip in there that's just for the sensors that will pick up your body movement stuff like that. So there's nothing else really as advanced as that, I would say, except for Face ID camera. Which will they be allowed to use that? But that's a different story. We won't get into that topic there. Yeah, I mean, I agree with kind of Bryant. Like as a kid, it would have been awesome. Nowadays, just kind of like, like I wish,
Give me
but
something generic. Give me something I want to throw against the wall. Call it a day.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, there's so many things that do a lot of what that does already.
That is true.
Like you
It's
have
a
you have the
toy.
sleep
It's
tracking.
a toy.
You have a sleep tracking on a smartwatch now.
Mhm.
You know, like
I
you don't
w-
need
like
a
I said,
separate device to do it.
I would like it alone just for the music that puts you to sleep. Like that would be great, But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, could have just put it in an app.
that is true. Yeah. Let
Make
us
a
buy Nintendo
playlist.
soundtracks. How about that? Like
Yeah, there you go.
we
Yeah,
can't
and then
buy
it disappears 20 years later when they don't want to renew the license for the devices or whatever.
That's why you download it, you put it away on a separate drive, and it's yours. That's how you get away. Or like if you buy it like on iTunes, and it's usually just there once you buy it. But well, I don't know. I never bought anything on iTunes, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But that's not the only thing Nintendo announced, and this was actually a pretty big surprise because it was just a quick like Twitter post, and it was Nintendo was announcing an online test program for Nintendo Switch Online, and like nobody really knows what it is yet. The tests are when did the test start, Bryant?
20th.
The 20th. So yeah, there's only one person here that got in, and that is Bryant. Like you're the only one that got in. I tried to sign up, and because
You were busy.
yeah, like I was literally because so that next morning, of course, the sign up started Thursday morning. I had no power, service was really bad, And I went on a walk with my wife, and the minute it hit 11, I tried to, but like the service was so bad that I couldn't refresh the page or anything like that. And I'm just like, whatever. And by the time I signed up, there was no more spots. Or when I tried to sign up, it just said it was already filled, which kind of sucked. But Brian got into it. And Drokuma says saying there's no power at all, but it's nice to hear from you guys. Yeah, man. Drokuma, who's another friend of the channel, know him as Jesse. Yeah, he has no power as well. He's dealing with that issue as well. But yeah, I tried to sign up and I didn't get to. So, Van, did you try to sign up or did you forget about it?
I forgot about it because again, hurricane. I was dealing
Yeah,
with all that, so my mind was more like focused on
elsewhere.
elsewhere.
Priorities, guys. Come
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
Obviously,
priorities.
Nintendo's more important.
Well, I set an alarm specifically for
But
11,
it
like, or
wasn't an Alarmo, so it
10:58.
didn't
Yeah,
work.
that's true. That's true. That's exactly why
I
it
bet that
didn't work.
Alarmo would have gotten your ass up.
Well, no, I was up. I was up. Like I said, I was walking
No, I know. I'm
around
just
because I was surveying all the damage. It's just with bad service, I just couldn't sign up. So it is what it is. But what are you guys thinking this is? Like I put a joke out there on Twitter. It's like watch this be some type of cloud gaming thing that they're testing out, which I hope I'm wrong, because I don't want it to be cloud gaming. But a lot of people are speculating that it's GameCube, a GameCube game at least. But I don't know. Like I'm feeling like why would they have to do a play test for a GameCube game? That to me that makes no sense. The only thing I can personally think of it is cloud gaming because that's something you would want to test out before you announce it for multiple people. So let's start with you, Fan. What do you think this might be?
Hmm. It'd be interesting to see how they're going to like update NSO
Mm-hmm.
because of how it ran with certain games and emulators that they were using,
Mm-hmm.
like for N64 and stuff like that. How it just ran like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they do new features for like chat, it'd be interesting.
I was
how they
thinking that
integrate
too. Yeah.
Like trying to get away from the Nintendo app, you know?
Yeah. I mean, in which that looks like it might be like when we were talking about the Switch leak. There's now a built-in microphone on the new Switch, according to the leak at least, which would make sense. But then like you can't really test it like I guess on the current Switch. Well, I mean Fortnite has built-in chat, so like if you do get a mic with a headphone with a mic, you can talk in Fortnite on the Switch.
Yeah.
And I think there's like one other game that has it, the ability to do that as well, but no other game has that. Um, but I don't know, but it's 2.2 gigabytes, like, and it's a specific
That's how
app
big
you have
this
to
app
download
is.
separate. Yeah, it's 2.2 gigabytes. That's how big the app is, according to Oatmeal Dome. Um, yeah, Oatmeal Dome,
Okay,
who's
it
a
has to be GameCube. It has to be.
Mhm.
Like, what else could be 2.2 gigabytes? Like,
Yeah,
that
Play
sounds
test an
pretty
emulator.
substantial.
Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe
yeah,
it's a GameCube emulator or something.
yeah. I wonder, like, what is the file size of like something? Let's say like Super Mario Sunshine.
Well, it's
Like,
probably bigger than 2 gigs, but if it's cloud gaming, it's not going to take up that much space.
yeah, that's true. That's
Maybe like
true.
the interface. Maybe it's like an interface with like a bunch of other stuff, and that's what makes up that amount. Because I mean, if you look at like I don't know the N64, probably the N64
Hmm.
app is probably the closest proximity. I don't know how big it is, but like those games are downloaded to your Switch, so
Yeah,
I guess you'd have to kind of extrapolate what you will from that. But I mean, it has. I mean, I'm going to find out in a week from today
yeah,
what what it is. I heard a rumor online that when you agree to do this, you have to sign an NDA
yeah,
to participate, but then I heard that got debunked.
yeah,
So I'm wondering if that's it. So if it's not an NDA thing, like I'll give a full report on Sunday on what I
yeah.
found out or whatever. But yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I think so Oatmeal Dome. So if you don't know who Oatmeal Dome is, he's pretty big. He's the one that actually created the Dolphin fork for iOS and iPad OS. So like if you ever use Dolphin on iPad or iOS, it was actually created by him. And Dolphin gave it their full approval on this. So he does a lot of like emulation stuff when it comes to Dolphin, but he's also does deep dives into like Nintendo Switch firmware updates to find anything hidden in there. And that's how he found out that the file size is 2.2 gigabytes. He did also debunk the NDA thing that they're asking for you not to share, but there is no NDA that you're actually signing. They're just,
Well,
asking you
what's the
not to
point?
share. Kind of like any beta test that you do with any video game where they say, please don't share it, but people talk about it anyways. That's basically what they're doing. So I'm curious on what it is. I might actually hit you up, Brian, and have you like stream it to me over Discord so I can see exactly what this is, because it's gonna be like interesting. The other thing I was thinking
Watch it.
about is, what if it's its own like virtual console app where you can actually buy games, like, I mean, I guess if you're
I
testing
love
it,
that,
you wouldn't be
but
able to like buy the games, but maybe it's a virtual console app where you can buy the games and then you just play them from there, right? Like I think that that would make sense. I think, right? Like maybe because
I don't know.
it's hard. Like part of me wants to think that it is GameCube, because for them to go after Russ from Retro Game Core, specifically about the Wind Waker video, it would make more sense that if it's GameCube or even like Wii U, like just supported Wii U game or something like that on there, like something to that nature. That's the only
There's not
reason
much
why
Wii
I'm
U
thinking about that.
left.
I mean, yeah, you got
There's not
Wind
many.
Waker, Twilight Princess, Xenoblade Chronicles X.
That's it.
Um, uh, I feel like there's like a few others.
NES Remix, maybe.
Yeah, NES Remix 1 and 2. Um, there's probably I'm sure there's a few others. I might have to look into that. But
Those are the big ones, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably less than
Technically,
10
Skyward
left.
Sword was on Wii.
Yeah, but Skyward Sword's on Switch already, so
Yeah, they had to remake that game to make it work. But
yeah. But if they do like straight ports, like I don't know, like I'm torn between GameCube or Virtual Console. You do put up a good point that cloud gaming shouldn't be that big, but like I don't know. I've been so let down with things that I feel like cloud gaming is the the answer. Like I want to go for like the worst thing
it's
possible. So that I'm
probably
surprised.
GameCube, because when I looked it up on Switch on Nintendo's website,
Yeah.
all the N64 games plus the NSO like app that's on the Switch,
Yeah.
it's less than 2 gigs.
Okay.
And in a GameCube game is like 1.5 gigs roughly, based on because it was a mini disc, a mini
Yeah.
DVD disc, and they're less than 2 gigs. So it
Yeah.
would make sense that, hey, maybe if you include the size of the app for NSO plus one GameCube game, it could be like testing a game to see how well their emulator runs.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think, what else could it be? Like DS, possible too.
yeah, I mean that would be another emulation avenue. Which, I mean, if that's the case, that's cool. But DS, I mean, on that system, it just seems like it might be kind of limited.
Yeah. I mean, unless they sell you an attachment, because like if you could play it,
rotate it,
yeah,
like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they do have
maybe.
tabletop games on the Switch where
Yeah,
you do
Tate
play
mode.
this,
Yeah,
yeah.
where you play it in portrait mode. So
that would work. That'd be cool if they could figure out how to do that.
Well, wasn't there a
It-
game that came out that actually had an attachment in the box that came with it? It was like a
Well, there's an accessory.
Was it an accessory? I thought it was a game that like utilized that. That was like a shoot 'em up type game, like a shmup.
Well, there are some games out there that take advantage of the vertical, like the that Namco Museum thing. Like you can actually like turn it and then and like Ikaruga, I think, is the same thing where you can turn it and have it vertically or whatever. But then there's also an accessory that they sold, not Nintendo. It was some company or whatever that
Okay.
is like I think it's called the Flip Grip, maybe.
That might be it. Yeah.
That just sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, because I remember that
Nintendo
accessory.
could easily, because they already have the grip for the Joy Cons that came with the console, right? So they could easily make that same thing, but
Yeah, the Flip Grip.
make it to where it's vertical.
Yeah. Yeah, because DS would work. I mean,
Watch, it's gonna be like some like lame online mode for Splatoon or something like that, and that's all it is.
that would be horrible.
That'd be so disappointing.
The only reason why
It'd be the Miiverse. They've imported the Miiverse into the Switch.
Yeah, the new Miiverse, guys, 2.2 gigabytes. Sign an NDA.
that'd be crazy. Like Miiverse being 2.2 gigabyte, that'd be. I mean, I enjoy Miiverse, but like,
I wouldn't.
I mean, you didn't like Miiverse?
No.
I
mean,
enjoyed
if
it.
they
have to
pretty
be
cool.
social.
Yeah.
Like I would prefer
I'm a
Miiverse.
solitary
over, like,
creature,
Twitter.
James. What'd you say?
I said I prefer like Miiverse over Twitter. I thought it was pretty fun to see like different posts or like the drawings they would do for the different games and stuff like that. Like it was pretty neat. A lot of people were pretty creative there. Or or just finding out like different stuff. It was pretty neat on Wii U. On 3DS, I didn't use it because 3DS like just online in general was so slow, so I didn't even bother with that. But on Wii U, I thought it was pretty fun. Um, but yeah, like
Remember Miitomo?
Tomo. What's
Oh, you don't
Mitomo?
remember Miitomo?
No. Oh, is
Was
that
that
that's the game,
app?
right? No.
I thought it was an app, wasn't it? There was an app on Android and iOS called Miitomo, and it was based on the game or whatever. Like you have a me and you do stuff with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I thought Mitomo was that. You might be right. I'm trying to think.
I thought they had both.
Or is it Metopia? Maybe I'm thinking of, or something like that.
It might have
Yeah,
been
maybe.
Metopia.
Yeah, maybe Metopia is the game that I'm thinking of.
Miitomo
Yeah,
App Store. Yeah, it's called Me. It was called Miitomo. I just looked it
Mitomo.
up.
Yeah.
It came out. This news release is from March 31st, 2016. So that is. Then they end up killing it because it was kind of lame. But anyway,
Oh, actually, I do remember that. Now that you're saying that, I do remember that. That was like one of the first mobile games that they did, and then Mario came right after. I do remember that.
yeah.
Mario Run. Yeah, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what this is. Like,
Wait.
I'm very, very interested. The biggest thing we know that it is part of Nintendo Switch Online, which will make us. That's why we're thinking, SNES and stuff like that, or another virtual console, because it specifically says Nintendo Switch Online test program or playtest program, which kind of leads to that, because anything that they say when it comes to Nintendo Switch Online usually specifically means like those. So, like they always say Nintendo Switch Online, Super Nintendo, or NES or Game Boy or whatever the case might be. But then they have like that little like globe as their, what do you want to say, like thumbnail, I guess, picture, which makes it seem like it maybe has to do with communication, which would put in voice chat, but like 2.2 gigs, and you having to have a separate app for voice chat, which does not make any sense whatsoever. I don't know. None of this makes
All,
sense.
all I know is that I'm getting I'm going on Amazon and getting clown makeup in my cart because I know I'm gonna end up needing it probably
Yeah, I feel
for
we're
our
all going to be
predictions.
disappointed. I
Yeah.
mean, I hope I'm wrong. Like, I hope I'm not disappointed. I hope it's something amazing like GameCube. That would be cool. Or being able to buy your virtual console games, because I think that's something that a lot of people have asked for. Like, just allow us to buy the games that we want, so we own them. We can play whenever.
It's gonna be a
Going.
Splatoon online mode. I just know it. It's gonna be like the play test. It's gonna be like a bunch of squids running around. Like, oh,
Mhm.
isn't this? It's gonna be Splatoon or something like that.
I do want to give a little bit of a side note. I do want to go back to the hurricane real quick. This
Did you
made
see I
me
put in Discord?
appreciate. Yeah, I did. This
Okay.
made me appreciate physical cartridges way more than digital, because so I do like the game sharing thing with my kids, and basically because of that, I couldn't play any of my digital games, but I can play all of my physical games because I have the physical cartridge there. So because of this, I do appreciate physical cartridges definitely a lot
What were you
more.
playing on Switch?
Yeah, on Switch, like, so I can play like Smash Bros because I have the physical cartridge, but then I couldn't play, for example, let's say like Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Like if I wanted to play that, I wouldn't be able to because I have that digitally. Or Tears of the Kingdom, I have that digitally, so I can't
Don't
play
you have a
that.
home Switch though, where you don't have to be on the internet for it?
What do you mean?
Because you're allowed one quote home Switch per
Mhm.
account, and if you have a home Switch, it doesn't have to be connected to the internet to play your games that are downloaded to it.
Correct, but I
It
use
does.
that one with my son so he can play all my games.
Mm,
So kind of like
gotcha.
how you do
Okay,
like
fair enough.
PlayStation sharing and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's how we can do that, because I have three Switches in my household. There's mine, and then my two oldest kids, they have their Switches. So 9 times out of 10, I have to buy two of the same game. Tears of the Kingdom, I had to buy twice. So rather than buy 3 times, I buy one digital and then one physical. One digital, one physical. So that's the only way I can get through doing that. So I don't have to buy three copies of the same game every single time.
You'd be
Which,
happy to throw that down on Tears of the Kingdom. Don't lie.
I mean, yeah, I would, but like, if I don't have to spend that extra money for another copy, I would prefer not to, because then I can use that towards a different game. Um, but yeah, that I just want to say physical games amazing, and Nintendo Switch Online. Fortunately, because of the same reason, I would not be able to play any of my Nintendo Switch Online stuff because this is not my home console. I hope I hope they do something like Valve did with the Steam Family Share, because that is amazing, where you share the library with a family but you can't play the same game, which I would prefer something like that, so that I don't have to worry about being online or not. we can still play various different games. That I would prefer. And even then, if I want to go
Maybe it's
ahead
that.
and buy multiple versions of the game, then I can do that. And sometimes I don't, because maybe like Echoes of Wisdom, right? They're playing Echoes of Wisdom right now. I haven't played it in a bit, but that allows me to kind of like share that way because it's a physical cartridge. What's up, Geek Show? How you doing, man?
Geek Show.
But yeah, any last thoughts on the online test program?
Nope.
No, I'll be reporting
Report
back.
back. Yeah, report back.
Next
And
week.
then Nintendo will send their lawyers, and then I'll be off the show, and I'll mysteriously disappear, and all that'll be left to me is this room.
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo lawyers, that kind of goes into our next topic. There has been a huge Pokemon data leak. It is big. It's pretty much like the Giga leak that happened with Nintendo, where it was a bunch of stuff.
Can I
out
say
there.
something?
Sure.
About this?
Mhm.
I don't know how good I feel talking about this, because it wasn't like this is like gotten by illegal means.
Yeah.
Like it was like a phishing thing.
Mhm.
So I don't really know how much we should go into this.
Oh, I'm not
Just
gonna go
my
into like
personal
specific
opinion.
details of everything.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, like I'm not, and we're not sharing anything. We're just gonna
Okay.
kind of discuss. We
Say that
discussed
happens.
leaks before,
Okay.
like the Capcom leaks and stuff like that, and nothing ever happened. Like as long as we're not sharing the actual like where we're finding this information, we're usually pretty good. Geek Show says, "How's everybody?" Fan Bryant, James, good evening. We're good. We're good. I mean, me and Fan are good.
I live in Wisconsin,
We survived the
I'm
hurricane. Yeah, Brian's in Wisconsin, so he's good. He was safe. No damage there. But yeah, this Pokemon data leak is pretty interesting. So what came out of it is we did find out what the code name of the new Switch is, which is funny because for the longest time they have not shared the code name for the new Switch. When the Switch was originally coming out, I believe Iwata himself had referred it to as the NX. And he stated it was the NX multiple times. When Dragon Quest XI was announced, it specifically said for NX before it came to other platforms, which was funny because they had a trailer and it says coming to NX. It was the first game that we knew that was coming to that console. Now going into this, the Switch 2 apparently, or according to this leak at least, and a lot of this take with a grain of salt because there are some like false like stuff hidden in there, so I don't know how 100% this is, but according to this, the Switch 2 code name is Ounce. What do you think about that code name? Like to me, that actually got me a little bit worried, like because when I think Ounce, I'm like, so are you saying this is like an ounce, like an upgrade? It's a small upgrade from the Switch. Is that what you're talking about, Ounce? Like I don't know. It sounds like a weird code name. What do you guys think?
That is pretty weird. Like normally they're like pretty like unique with their names. Like the GameCube, what was it? The Revolution as well.
No, GameCube was Dolphin.
Dolphin.
Yeah, Wii was Revolution.
What was the Revolution? Wii was Revolution.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they're normally like pretty interesting with their code names.
Yeah.
Ounce is kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because
like it's not unique or anything. Like it's just strange.
Yeah, GameCube was Dolphin. Wii was Revolution. Wii U was Project
Wii
Cafe.
U like breakfast?
Project Cafe, yeah. Close.
It was something food themed.
And then Switch was NX. Yeah, it is weird. Oh, what about you, Bryant?
No comment.
No comment on Ounce. It's
don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it. Yeah, Ounce is a weird name when it comes to like the code names. Like I don't personally like, to me it's kind of like has me worried. Like you were codename something Ounce. Ounce is very small, so the only thing I can think of is a minor upgrade. That is pretty much it. But that wasn't the only thing to come out from there. New games were kind of leaked from there as well. Or not new games, but like some like information about Pokemon Legends ZA, what Gen 10 might be. There's a bunch of like stuff that's coming out from there. Source code was also leaked, unfortunately, which we know like when Nintendo that happened. The same thing with like Zelda and Mario, and that's how you have these native PC ports for like Zelda and Mario. And weird lore has come out as well. Like I'm not sure if anybody here has read that lore. Yeah, let's just say if this lore stuff is real, there's freaks at like the Pokemon Company. Like it's kind of weird, weird stuff. I'm not sure, did you guys read any of that stuff?
Didn't.
No.
No.
Yeah, some of the lore is pretty cool. It's stuff that was already explained, but it's kind of like in there in terms because like Pokemon has lore. Like, for example, there was a theory that there's multiple timelines in the Pokemon games, which you would think being a Pokemon game, there's not a lot of lore involved. It's just capture the Pokemon, be all the gym leaders, fight Elite Four, become the champion, you're done. But as like the games progress, they actually had a lot of Pokemon lore in it, and when X and Y came out, there was a theory that there was multiple timelines. There was a timeline of the original previous games, so Red all the way up to like Black and White, and
Okay.
then X and Y had a brand new timeline with that. With X and Y, or I'm sorry, with was it Alpha Ruby? No, I'm sorry, Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby. With those games, they kind of established that there was a second timeline, and there's now a split timeline. There's the timeline where the Mega Stones exist, which is XY, um, the Aurus game, so Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and then the Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu. That's a separate timeline, and then there's the timeline where Mega Stones don't exist. So there's like really deep lore in Pokemon, which is pretty interesting when you start reading about it, the split of the timeline. That's why like certain things are different in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire versus the original Ruby and Sapphire. And some pretty neat things that they go about on the remake. Almost similar, I guess you could say, to how like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is kind of establishing that there's a different timeline or different events, I guess, occurring in like this alternate timeline of the game. But yeah, the Pokemon lore does go pretty deep, which is pretty cool. And they established like lore on that a lot of games like Legends Arceus kind of started establishing of where Pokemon first started and all that other stuff. But yeah, quite a bit is out there. Like I said, I'm not gonna go into too much detail on everything. All that stuff's already available on Twitter if you want to go ahead and read that stuff. More than likely, Pokemon Company is gonna go after whoever did that to them, and got and pretty much go after them because Pokemon Company is kind of ruthless, kind of like Nintendo. They do go after people who kind of go against their stuff. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that at all, Fan or Bryant?
Not really.
I mean, cool that there's a timeline, or that. I mean, I was just like, just thought like, you know, you just play the game, catch your Pokemon, and then you move on.
Yeah. Now, there's some disturbing stories. Like I said, some of the lore stories. Again, I don't know if this is true because a lot of it sounds like some weird, creepy, like fan fiction stories, and they're pretty messed up. I'm like, again, if this is true and there's people at the Pokemon Company that has this imagination, then it's not cool when it comes to some of this other lore stuff that's popping up on there. But again, you gotta take everything with a grain of salt because some of the stuff that's coming out is been proven to be fake or like fan art and stuff like that. So we don't really know 100% what is real from those leaks and what is not. All we do know is there has been this hack. All that information is out there, and yeah, somebody's probably gonna pay sooner rather than later. All right. And our final topic of the day is there's a bunch of current games that released in the past 2 weeks. I'm gonna start off with you, Brian, because I'm pretty sure you have maybe two of these three games that we'll be talking about. Start off with Silent Hill 2. I know you were playing it last week. Have you played more of it since?
I played it all day today after the Packers game, so I played it for probably a good 3 or 4 hours straight,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, man, I am really liking it. It like I have all the lights off in here.
Mhm.
I have my headphones on, and it's just such a remarkable experience. Like you think about how it came out in the early aughts, was it like 2000 or something? No, it came out on PS2. So PS2 came out in 2000 in the US. So maybe like 2001, 2002, Silent Hill 2 came out, something like that. And it's just so ahead of its time. And the only game that kind of came out after that, and I kind of hesitate to even compare them, is Resident Evil 4. like that was the next like big one, but I don't even really compare them because they're so different. Resident Evil 4 isn't that scary. It's very
Hmm.
action oriented. You get tons of ammo, lots of bad guys to shoot at, and crazy action and stuff. Silent Hill 2 is not that. Silent Hill
Yeah.
2 is for the first couple hours of the game, you're beating up these just disgusting, grotesque mannequin monsters with a freaking 2x4 with nails in it. It's just very raw. There's no herbs to collect and mix into making your health a lot more. It's just you find this is something that's really funny. I never really like uh kind of get in the weeds about game lore or whatever, but what's so funny in this game is that you go into Silent Hill and it's just this totally decrepit, disgusting, gross, uh, infected, awful, poor building quality, whatever place. And you find these like syringes in boxes or little tins, and the main character just like takes those out and just injects himself with them to make his health go better. And just the idea of just finding a random syringe on the street and just saying like, you know what, it's time to feel good. I'm gonna inject this random syringe. It's a little bonkers. Like even if it was a perfect utopia, I wouldn't just take a syringe and be like, let's just see what happens when I put this in my body. So that's a little weird. And then also too, you find these health drinks, and they give you back a little bit less of health than the syringes do. And even that too, I'd be like, okay, well, I found this bottle of liquid on the street. I'm just gonna drink it, and hopefully it makes me feel better. At least with Resident Evil, the first aid spray obviously you bring in, and so it's like pharmaceutical, and the herbs are natural. So I mean, I guess you could find some nasty herbs, but at least they came from the ground, at
Yeah.
the very least. But anyway, I digress. I just always thought that was funny. But it's very freaky. You have a good sound system where you have headphones on. It's in the dark. The lighting, the enemy design, the sound is so good, and you just hear little creaks and moans. And there's this part that I was in the game where you're in this apartment building, and you hear like these whispers in your head when you have your headphones on, and it's the creepiest, most surreal thing because it sounds like somebody's whispering like by your face, and it's so unsettling. And I just had a boss fight, the first boss fight with Pyramid Head, and then you get out of the apartment building. So that's where I am now. But yeah, I can't rave about it enough. It definitely was ahead of its time. It kind of reminds me of how Metal Gear Solid 2, from a historical and societal perspective, was very much ahead of its time for a lot of the things it talked about involving like AI and PMCs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. This game, it's very visionary, and I'm enjoying it very much. I can't wait to get through it and finish it. It's great.
Yeah. You mentioned Metal Gear Solid. It's funny. I was talking about that earlier today.
Another Konami game.
Yeah. I was telling somebody they never played Metal Gear Solid. I was like, Metal Gear Solid's a game that kind of reflects what we're living in now, but at the time back then you would never guess it. And a lot of like the themes that it covers is kind of stuff that people
I was
talk
talking
about
about 2
today.
specifically,
Yeah.
but 1 as well, but I was talking about 2 specifically.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
one less than two, but yeah, two gets
yeah,
in deeper, and then three
yeah.
in
Talking about, like,
four.
social media and, like,
Mm-hmm.
all that kinda stuff, and
Yeah, very cool.
very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Are you thinking of picking this up, fan, or not a fan of Silent Hill 2?
It those type of games aren't my games.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I mean, they're definitely scarier than Resident Evil. I will say that
Oh, yeah.
they're for sure scarier than Resident Evil. I will
I have
eventually
to take
pick this
breaks.
up. Yeah, because your heart rate starts like getting high and stuff
Just
like
it's a
that.
very depressing place to be in, and it's
Hmm.
just very high anxiety and high intensity, and so I
Yeah,
I actually got through a lot today, a lot more than I had been, recently, but
yeah.
gotta, take a walk through the house, get a drink, and just take a breath or whatever. Um, but I will say that the only game that I've been as scared close to being scared about is, Resident Evil 7. Did either of you guys play Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So do you remember in Resident Evil 7 how when you're in the house, there's a section where you have to go into the basement?
Hmm.
After you playing as Ethan, not like at the very beginning, like where you fall down like the well, or not a well, I don't know what you call it, and you have to like go through and get your wife or whatever. I'm talking about
Yeah,
like later in the game, you're in the house, you have to go down these stairs, and then you're in this basement area where all the infected come at you, and
yeah.
when you're going down those stairs and you go through that door and it's dark, like my heart is racing and it's just so scary.
Yeah.
That's the closest proximity I can think of to Silent Hill 2 in the terms of how scary it is.
Hmm.
But no Resident Evil game has come close. Like Resident Evil 8 didn't scare me as much as
Yeah.
this does. The only section in Resident Evil 8 that was scary was that dollhouse. That was pretty freaky, but other than that, it really wasn't that scary.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like 8 was definitely not scary. Or not Village. 7 was a little bit scarier.
It's parts.
Um, for sure. Yeah, like in the beginning, I think, and I think more of that's because you're underpowered, right? So you don't have a lot.
Mhm.
But I think
Yeah.
once you kind of get out of that main
Get your
house,
arsenal.
yeah, then you're fine. And that's
Yeah.
typical with any Resident Evil game. Like it's scary at first
Right.
because you have a handgun and that's about it. But once you get weapons, you're like, all right, I don't care. I can deal with all you guys. Especially with 7, because towards the end, you're pretty much just nonstop shooting. It becomes
You're a man of war.
yeah, which I don't know why they did that. And then Village is very much like that. Uh, yeah, eventually I'll pick this up too. I just don't know when.
I'd
Because
like to hear your thoughts on it.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's come out that I'm very interested in, or games that are coming out that I'm definitely want to pick up. And unfortunately, I think Silent Hill 2 is just like on the back of the list when it comes to that. One game that I do
There's
want to pick up,
Sparking Zero.
yeah, with Sparking Zero, which we'll talk about in a minute. One
Okay.
game I do want to pick up is Metaphor
Metaphor,
Refantasio.
man.
Did you pick that up?
Of course I did.
Have you played it
Who are you
already,
talking to?
or are you waiting to
Yeah.
beat Silent Hill 2?
Mhm.
Okay. So
No, I'm
me
playing
and me and you could talk about that. Fan, did you play the demo at least of the game, or have you picked it up at all?
I haven't picked it up at all
No?
yet.
Okay. So I've been playing the demo because I did not play the demo when it first came out, and finally I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and try the demo out. And I wish to play more. I was hoping to play more so we can talk about it this week, but of course the situation happened. But I started playing a little bit more today, and I can say from where I'm at in the demo, I'm really enjoying it. Like somebody had posted said this feels like how old school Final Fantasy used to feel. I would probably agree to that to an extent because it does feel. Maybe it's because the medieval like type setting or the very fantasy medieval settings that it has. It does feel like old school Final Fantasy. When I talk about Final Fantasy, I'm talking about like 1 through 5, and maybe you can sprinkle like 6 in there. Not like 7, where you're more of it's an almost more modern world in those games. And I'm liking it. The music seems great. Excuse me. The graphics are amazing. It still has like the Persona vibe in terms of like menu, art direction and stuff like that. But I'm enjoying it. How far are you into the game, Brian?
I just beat the first boss, the quote
Okay.
human. It's
Mhm.
like a spinny thing. I don't know what's
Mhm.
in the demo. I don't know if that's part of it. I disagree about the graphics. Actually, I don't
Mhm.
think it looks that great. I
Really?
mean, the art style is great.
Mhm.
It's definitely one that I don't think will age badly. But I don't know. It just looks kind of blurry or something. It just
Yeah.
looks kind
Are
of
you playing on
kind
PS5?
of yeah.
I heard
It
I
looks
heard there
kind
is
of
some
like
graphical issues on
anti-aliasing
PS5.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not bad, but I think Persona looks way better than, Metaphor, but at the end of the day, like, I don't really care, like, that's not
Yeah.
I don't play these games for the graphics.
Mhm.
I agree the music is really good.
The voice acting is
I
good
haven't
too.
Oh, yeah, the voice acting's
Mhm.
great. I really think it's interesting that the main character is the most human looking race or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
all these different races and about their intermingling and politics and stuff, and
Yeah.
how your character, aside from his what do you call it, by his eyes, what do you call that when you have two different eyes? There's a medical term for it.
I know there. Yeah, I
Um,
don't
Like
remember what it's called.
yeah,
dichromic or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Besides that, he's just a normal looking dude, and his race is considered like low class along
Yeah.
with that other race, and I'm very interested in getting into kind of the politics of it and how they interact and how the
Mhm.
world is, and I'm sure there's lots of cool lore and finding out about the bad guy and everything, and the bad guy does seem particularly pretty nasty, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. It definitely has a different vibe than Persona as far as like
Mhm.
the setting goes and everything. But the menus are really stylistic like Persona. The battle system is a lot like Persona. It's a little different, but it has the same what do you call them?
Like
Element. There's
vibe.
a different word for. There's a word for it, not elementals. What are they called? The dark and the wind, and there's a better word for it than elementals. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I am very much enjoying it, and I'll
Yeah.
definitely be playing it more tomorrow.
What's it called? What are they called? The
It starts with an A.
Archetypes.
No, what's it called? It starts with an A. I know it starts with an A. Look it up.
No. But I know you have things that are like personas, the archetypes. I think they're called archetypes. Oh yeah, they're basically personas, but not.
I'm googling it.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
But you have those. Yeah, it's kind of cool that like for weaker enemies, you can go ahead and do basically like an action RPG type combat, and then for stronger enemies, you can go ahead and
affinities.
Do turn-based combat. Affinities. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I do like the mix there. It does, like I said, it gives a different vibe. So like, if anybody's thinking that it's Persona, just medieval setting, you're gonna get it wrong.
No.
It has like stuff that you're like, oh yeah, this isn't Persona, but it's like it's its own thing. Like you feel right away that it's its own thing. It is not going for the same tones that Persona has. One thing I do like, which you mentioned, is like in games, I do like a lot of the games that have like this like political type deal where it's like.
Or are you gonna talk about the lore thing? How you can look in like 16, how you can read like the dictionary of that's really cool.
Well, that I like too. But like I'm talking about like just like the setting of it being like politics and stuff like that. Like Final Fantasy Tactics is a great example of that. The reason why a lot of people like the story is like the warring nations and stuff like that. Or in this game, how it's like basically racism is happening in this game. That's exactly what it is. The what do they call Eldia, right? That's the human race is called, I think, Eldia.
Eldas. Eldia, I think, is Eldas. Eldia is Attack on Titan, I think.
Is it? Okay.
The Eldians, yeah.
Yeah. So Elda then how the human race is, belittled, but then there's like that book that they have where it's like there's another world out
like
there.
Our
world.
Supposed
to be our world where they're saying that everybody gets along, which is not true. But they have like that little thing.
It's not true. Watch our tier list podcast.
They have like that going on, and I like that stuff. Like the direction it's going to so far, I'm enjoying it, and probably after I'm done getting to the point where the demo stops, I will definitely pick this up because I wasn't gonna buy this day one, but as I'm playing it, I'm really enjoying this game, and I'm excited to dive deeper into it. And it runs great on Steam Deck. I've been playing on the Steam Deck. It does like fluctuate, like it's weird. In some areas you can get 60 out of it. In other areas, it's like 35-ish, 40-ish, depending. So like I think if you want stable frame rate, I would just set it to just 30 FPS. I set mine to 45 FPS and drop my settings a little bit more, and it's pretty much been consistent for the most part. But it runs great on Steam Deck. So if you want to play this on Steam Deck and maybe you don't want to play it on PC, which I don't know, if there's something for me in playing RPGs in handheld I just really like, it's doable on Steam Deck. A lot more than Final Fantasy 16 is, because after the recent update, my frame rate has been everywhere on Final Fantasy 16. So I actually stopped playing that because of that.
Speaking of Steam Deck, James, I totally forgot to mention this. If you got Silent Hill 2, would you be getting it for PC or would you get it for PS5?
Definitely on PC. Yeah.
Yeah, right now, Silent Hill 2 does not support Steam cloud saves.
Really? That's dumb.
It sucks. I was in for a shock because I was like, I'm gonna play some Silent Hill on my Steam Deck, and wait a second, why does it say new game? Then I looked at like the page on Steam. It's not cloud save support. I hope they add it at some point, but that's not the case right now.
That is dumb. We're in 2024 and you don't support.
I know, who doesn't do that?
Like, it's weird. What about you, Fan? Do you think you're gonna pick this up?
Probably. I mean, the trailer and stuff made the game look interesting. I mean, I have started some Persona games, so I mean, RPG is kind of where I started my gaming, and it looks fun enough. So I'll probably download the demo, try it out. If it keeps my interest, I'll probably buy it.
I will say it feels like a breath of fresh air, in terms of like, I guess, setting. There's just something about the game. It feels very, I don't know, different.
It's kind of like Ni no Kuni, isn't it? It's kind of a little Ni no Kuni aspect to it, doesn't it? Kinda?
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe where you go to this other world. Yeah, I mean, I can
very
see
fantasy.
That. Yeah,
not as political.
But... Yeah, Ni no Kuni 2 is more political than the first one is. Ni no Kuni 1 is very I mean, the art style is Studio Ghibli, but it has that
Right.
type of vibes to it in terms of like story. Yeah, highly recommend trying it out. I think you will enjoy it. Even if you're not a Persona fan, I still think you would enjoy it because there's a lot going on to it. And like I said, it feels like a breath of fresh air. It feels like an old school RPG, which is always a good thing in my opinion. And then the last game on the list is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So I did get to play that. I don't have the game; my kids do, but I did get to play some of that. And basically, if you were expecting Budokai Tenkaichi 4, that's exactly what you got. It plays exactly like Budokai Tenkaichi 4. There is an option for classic controls that it just basically gives you the same control setup that you would have with those older games, and it's fun. Graphically amazing. There's certain things like when a lot of like particles and like dust and stuff like that start appearing, it's funny because the frame rate in those would drop a little bit and it looks kind of weird. But other than that, the fighting is fun. Uh, I will say that it's easy to get into but hard to master because there is a lot of timing going on and there's a little bit extra mechanics. Like they have this ultra like dodge system where you dodge or press the block button at the right time. Your character just starts doing like these cool dodges where he's just like standing still. He's just like, oh yeah, you're not hitting me at all. It's a cool animation your character does. It's like he's not even trying, which gives
Like
you a
Ultra
time.
Instinct.
Yeah, it's basically like Ultra Instinct, exactly. Yeah, and that's any character would do that. If you do that perfect dodge, any character would just stand still. It's just like, oh yeah, you're not hitting me. The animation to deflect blast is very like from the anime. So your character, even if you're not deflecting blast, it's literally he just does this, and of course you time it right, he'll just go ahead and dodge all of that. Um, of course, you have the I forgot what they call them, but when you also do like perfect dodges, you can appear right behind them, and hit them. And of course, they can do that. The key blast clashes. They have like a boost mechanic, so when you do your specials, you can boost your specials there. Man, there's like a lot in this game, and it's definitely a lot of fun. The biggest thing that a lot of people are talking about are what if stories. I spoiled myself on the what if stories because I didn't have the game already. So I've been watching it, and there's some cool what if stories. Like my favorite one is a Gohan what if story, where it's basically if Gohan was the main character of Dragon Ball Z after like the Cell Saga, and that was pretty dope. I really did like that because I always wondered how would the show kind of go if Gohan was the main character, and it changes basically everything from there on. After changes the whole thing. Um, I guess I don't want to spoil it, so I won't really go into detail there. So you can kind of find out on your own. But it is pretty cool with that. What's up, David? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I do need to I do need to stream it. I'm gonna wait till I get it on PC because my kids are playing it both on PS5, so I'm gonna purchase it on PC and play it on there. I just gotta wait a little bit for that. But yeah, and the what ifs are very hard to unlock because there's specific things you have to do to unlock these what if stories. If you don't do them, then basically you have to retry the whole level. And some of them are in different parts of a match. Like you might have a two-part fight with a certain character or during a story segment, and you have to do a specific thing at this. And like it might be like do a certain move to defeat the enemy with that, and it's like okay, I have to do this move to defeat him, or I die or anything like that. So, pretty interesting stuff they have going on. Fan, are you gonna pick it up?
I actually haven't played like a Dragon Ball game in like such a long time.
Hmm.
This might be the perfect one to pick up.
I highly recommend it, especially if you like the story. Because most Dragon Ball games they have, you just go through the main story of the anime and that's pretty much it, right? This what gives this like a breath of fresh air is the what if stories, because you have there's like Goku, there's a Vegeta one, there's like Gohan, um who else? Piccolo. And I'm missing a few more, but they're like different characters you can choose from, and they each have like also what ifs, and then you find out like it's a totally like I said alternate route with alternate story, and they're pretty cool. They're really cool. They definitely put a lot of thought into it, and I felt like they did do Jiren, yes, Jiren's one, yes, Future Trunks. I forgot about Future Trunks as well. There's so many different like they literally look at the lore, the story of Dragon Ball, and they're like, okay, so if you know Goku never died against Raditz, then maybe this is how this would play out when Vegeta and Nappa come to Earth and so forth. So some pretty cool stuff there. What about you, Bryant? I know you're not a Dragon Ball fan. What do you think about this
Goku
game?
dies.
Oh,
I
spoilers!
didn't
I'm
know that.
sorry. Spoilers from an
Everyone can
anime
come back
that
to life.
came out in 1980. Was it 1980? Like 7, 89?
I'm upset. I had 36 years to watch it. I was gonna watch it tomorrow. Now, never mind. No, I'm very excited for Dragon Ball fans that love the series, love everything about it, and they have a new AAA game. Well, I don't know, probably consider AAA in
Yeah.
that realm. Game to play. It looks very high quality. It's gotten solid reviews, and I can only imagine that Dragon Ball fans probably have even higher regard for it than the average, like I don't know, fighting game fan or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for you guys. Happy that you're having a good time.
Yeah, it's nice to have a. I mean, Xenoverse was also good, right? Like I enjoy Xenoverse, but this is like going back to the roots, like to the basics. And it does feel nice to have just a game that's just, I don't know, like classic, I guess. Classic in nature. It feels very classic. Again, it feels like Budokai Tenkaichi 3. If you ever played Budokai Tenkaichi 3, you will 100% love this game because it literally is just that. Just prettier, more characters, and you have awesome what if stories. There's ranked battle. The only thing I don't like, and I didn't try ranked battle, but I did see my son playing. I didn't really do a deep dive. Is the only issue I have with this as a fighting game in terms of doing ranked fights is each character has a kind of like a tier. Um, so like not every character has the same amount of health. So if you get like the weakest character in Dragon Ball, they're gonna be weak, and it's almost impossible to fight like the strongest character in Dragon Ball because they're gonna have like 10 health bars. They're gonna have like stronger moves. They're gonna have like all there's just so many things that they have an advantage over versus you. So like that's the only thing I don't really like about that as a fighting game. Hold on one second. We got a spam bot on here. There we go. That's gone. Let's see. Why couldn't they keep the name? It is canon. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know why they didn't just do Budokai Tenkaichi 4. That is kind of weird because it literally is, and they've said this is the next Budokai Tenkaichi game. They just decided to change it to Sparking Zero. So I mean, I don't know. But I'm excited for it. They're definitely going to add a lot more newer content. There's been like data mines of like Super Android 17 coming in because there's still a lot of GT characters are missing. There's really no Dragon Ball characters in there, which is kind of blasphemy. And what else? Like Gohan Beast is not there. Orange Piccolo is not there, and then of course we have Dragon Ball Daima that was first released Thursday, Friday, maybe. I think Thursday, one of the days. It just released there. Episode 1 premiered, and they'll probably add more maybe once Daima is done. Have you watched Daima yet, fan?
I did.
What you think of the first episode?
Fun.
It brought me back to like its roots, like of Dragon Ball. Like I did like that. The first episode was definitely a lore dump. People are going crazy because apparently in the Dragon Ball universe, if you have pointy ears, you are a demon. So yes, everybody.
I asked a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so my friend explained this to me earlier today with the Dragon Ball series because I was asking questions about it. So I'm just gonna go through it with you guys. You can tell me if my understanding is correct. And I also watched Dragon Ball when I was a kid. I watched like the first season, so I have a very tangential knowledge of that. But okay, so like Dragon Ball is like Kid Goku, right? Okay, and then Dragon Ball Z is like all those big bads, like the Cells, the Raditzes, the Friezas, the Majin Buu. I bet are those like the major ones that I'm thinking of?
Those are basically all the enemies, yeah.
Okay.
And then Vegeta,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Vegeta. Okay, so then you have Kai, which is like an abridged retelling of Z that's like easier to swallow because it doesn't have as much fluff to it.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
It doesn't have all the filler episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then GT came out and it takes place after the end of Z, and it isn't associated with Toriyama, and it's not considered very good.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Not considered canon as well.
Okay. And then Super that is like before Majin Buu, but like after Cell.
No, it's after
No.
Majin Buu.
Yeah,
It's after Majin Buu, so it's a sequel then.
correct. That would be
It's
the
a
true
continuing of the
sequel.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because
And
I
then
thought
Daima takes place
Yeah.
between Buu and Super.
God, okay, because I thought like I thought Dragon Ball Z ends with like dude flying away with Majin Buu, so I thought
Yeah.
that's the end, right? Like there's nothing else, but
So
Super takes place after that.
yeah, so
Super plays
super. So you are technically correct to an extent. It's so the final, I think, 2 episodes of Z take place, I think, 10 years later. So Super
Oh, okay,
takes place before the final 2 episodes of Z, but
got it. Okay,
after the Majin Buu arc. Uh,
okay. I
yeah,
didn't know there was a time jump in the last 2 episodes. Okay.
yeah, because at that point, like it's funny. Goku wishes for Kid Buu, to come back as a human being and fight him again. So
Mhm.
he gets reincarnated as Oob, which is just Buu backwards.
Oh, I get it.
And yeah, and basically Oob comes into the tournament and he's a kid, and
Mhm.
Goku starts beating up a kid. Yes, a grown man starts
There's some
attacking a
problems with
kid.
the series that I've seen that are very 80s, and especially Dragon Ball, Roshi, and
Yeah,
all the there's a lot
Roshi.
there's some stuff going on there.
But
There's a lot of stuff that the anime during that time, like in the 80s,
Yeah,
was very like
perverted. Yeah.
yeah,
yes.
they have I
They
mean,
had a
a
lot
lot of
of like
animes still
slapstick
have that.
humor that was kind of just like, meant to be funny, even though even by today's standards, it's like not cool anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
Goku and
So
Bulma. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting things with Goku and Bulma in OG Dragon Ball, especially OG Dragon Ball.
Mm.
More so OG Dragon Ball than Z. Z didn't have as much as that. Z was kind
yeah,
of
because
more
Z was
It was
more
more
shonen
modern at
super.
that
It was
point.
more just fighting action,
yeah,
like kind of keeping with that. Where like with Dragon Ball, they mixed in a lot of like humor,
Mhm.
gag, action,
yeah,
storytelling. Like it kind of encompassed a little bit of everything.
yeah. And more so in the beginning. Then as it gets like towards the end, it becomes a lot more serious.
Yeah, because
But it kind
technically,
of
towards the end of Dragon Ball, Goku grows up. Like
yeah.
he's a little older, so you see him age and progress.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Yeah,
He starts off, I think,
Oh,
at
okay.
12 years old, and then I think at the end of Dragon Ball, he's 18, I believe.
I want to look
Uh,
that up. I'm curious.
yeah, so like he look like he's a kid in the beginning, and then at the end, he's his
he's
adult.
an
You know,
adult.
yeah. Which I mean, I guess you can
Even though
consider 18
Saiyans
adult.
like you know they age slower than humans, so
Hmm.
he'll probably look 18 for like decades.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, yeah, Daima's good. Daima's another thing. Like I say, it takes place in between the end of the Buu arc and then before Super. So like it's like a small mini series in between there, which is also pretty interesting. And this one goes back to the roots, so it brings Goku back to a kid, which I would assume they take him, they make him a first grader in age, which is what, like 7 or 8 years old. So everybody becomes that age, and he has to go basically on a journey to go ahead and get back to his normal age. Um, and that's something I like because OG Dragon Ball, what I really liked about that is there was no crazy power scaling. They weren't blowing up planets or anything like that. It was just kind of like a little bit more hands-on, like martial arts, where Z kind of did away with that as like, yeah, we're gonna blow up universes, and Super went to blowing up galaxies and stuff like that. Like it got even more ridiculous after that. So
Yeah,
that
because
was
the
to be
only
a lot
powers
of
they
fun.
had was the only powers they had was the Kamehameha wave.
Yep.
A couple of people with like psychic abilities,
Hmm.
and then
That's really it.
well, who King
King Piccolo, yeah, had
King Piccolo. He had some like ki blast stuff, but that was yeah,
mhm.
that was really it. Like all of it was just all hand to hand.
Yeah, there was
And
no.
Toriyama blessed Super, right?
Say it again.
Toriyama blessed Super, right? It's not like a GT situation. Like Toriyama
No,
worked on Super.
yeah, Toriyama that was
Yeah.
involved in Super.
Mm,
Pretty much most of it. The
mm,
majority of it was his like idea and stuff like that. He was drawing characters. He was involved with all these different story arcs and stuff like that. So he was definitely hands on. The one that he took full control of was Daima, though. Like this is his
mm.
his
His final
story,
thing
which
before he
you could
passed.
feel it. Yeah, from episode 1, you could feel this is a Toriyama story. Because
That's
there's
cool.
again, it feels like OG Dragon Ball in nature and world building, where the first episode is literally just building the world of this new area they're gonna go to and have their adventure on. So
That's
very
cool.
very, very cool stuff. Yeah, I would recommend just watching Daima just for the fun of it. Animation is top notch. It's they
Yeah, I've heard
did
that.
the people who did the Dragon Ball Super Brawly movie is doing the animation for Daima. So like it's really high quality animation, which is pretty cool. Versus a lot of like other like Super animation was not good at all. It got better towards the end, but like the beginning was horrible. Where like Goku like his face was all like demorphed in a lot of scenes, and there was some weird stuff happening there.
I tried just for the heck of it. I went on Disney Plus to see if Kai was on there.
Yeah.
Kai is on there, but it has random episodes missing. Like episode 1 isn't on there. Then it's like episode 47, 48 is missing. Goes to 49, 50,
On Disney
51,
Plus?
52. Yeah, it's
Really? I did not know
missing
that.
probably at least a dozen episodes at least in it. At least.
What about on
That's
Hulu?
weird.
Well, they share the same library.
Oh, they do? Okay. I didn't know that. I
Mhm.
haven't had Disney
'Cause it's
Plus
the
in a minute.
same. It's like the same family, like Hulu, Disney Plus, and
Mhm.
like Max. You can get like
Yeah.
a triple subscription or whatever.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
disappointing.
Crunchyroll. Yeah, you'll have to have Crunchyroll. They have all the episodes on there now. That
Crunchyroll
Funimation.
does not have Kai.
It doesn't have Kai, really?
Does not have Kai. Nope, that was
That's
the first
weird.
place I looked. It has
Hmm.
everything but Kai.
Interesting.
Has Z, has Super, has GT. It does not have Kai.
I'm a little bit biased towards Z because I do like Kid Gohan's voice in Z versus Kai. No
Mm,
offense to the voice
mm.
actress who does Kid Gohan in Kai. I grew up with Z, so like
Yeah,
hearing
it's you're
that
used
voice
to.
and then seeing the change like kind of
That's
gets
how
Also
I
like
feel
the
about the
filler episodes.
Evangelion redub on
yeah.
Netflix. That Netflix Evangelion redub, like
Mhm.
it's fine, but I grew up with the ADV version, and it doesn't sound right unless it's
Yeah.
those actors, and that's just the way it is. Not that they're not doing a good job. It's just it's not what I'm used to. But anyway,
Yeah. But I agree. Initial D. I'm not sure if you've ever seen Initial D.
I haven't.
It's a
The
racing
race car one,
anime.
right?
Yeah. Tokyo Pop. The dub that I watched was Tokyo Pop, and then Pop went out of business because they also used to do the manga and everything. And Funimation got the rights, and they rechanged the whole cast. I was like, no, like they had
Not used
they
to it.
had good voice actors like Steve Blum, which a lot of people know for Cowboy Bebop, like
Cowboy
Spike.
Bebop.
Yep, he was one of the actors in there. It's just like no, like they had the main character was Kakashi's voice actor. So like it was just like they had a lot of like top class. They
A lot
had
of
like
good people. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like those people not being there, and they changed it. Like again, no offense to like the new actors that did the Funimation dub, but like I just couldn't get into it, unfortunately. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we have for this week. Oh, I do want to do like a honorable mention. I was playing the demo to Romancing Saga 2, and I actually think Romancing Saga 2 is pretty good as well. It has an interesting battle system, and it's definitely a game that I would say you shouldn't sleep on. It feels very classic, of course, remade with modern graphics, and I would say like give the demo a try at least. Your progress does carry over to the full game, so I do highly recommend that. Pretty fun battle system. They have like this kind of what's it called? I don't know how you would like a formation battle system. So like you have a specific formation, and then you get a boost. So like you might get like attack boost, defense boost, depending on how you lay out your characters. Everything is turn based, so you can't really move in the actual battle. But before like kind of like think Final Fantasy where you can have like characters in the back and characters in the front, and then usually the characters in the back they have higher defense but weaker attack. This kind of has something like that, but with the formation, it's just like if your characters are up front, then they're going to be targeted a lot more versus your characters in the back. But then you can do like not a triangle formation, but like a formation where you have your characters surrounding like one character, which will protect them, and then you get like all these different boosts and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. So far what I've played of it, and I highly recommend giving it a try. I feel like this game is not going to sell well, unfortunately, because not a lot of people know much about Romancing Saga. Like I've seen the games and I've heard about it. I've just never played one, and this is the first time I'm playing it. And I think it's something I do want to mention for some people to at least give it a try because I think it's well.
And we know how awesome Square Enix's sales projections are. They're always very accurate and very realistic.
Yeah, exactly. There's that too, which is probably gonna kill the game, which kind of sucks because like there's a lot of great games like Octopath Traveler. It doesn't sell a lot. Like Octopath Traveler 2, I believe sold I think what I heard less than Octopath Traveler 1, which might kind of hurt the sales overall. But I still feel like Octopath Traveler 2 was definitely the better game, and I think a lot of that was people were not impressed by Octopath Traveler 1, which definitely hurts Octopath Traveler 2 sales. Then you have Rebirth. They were expecting, I don't know what they were actually expecting, but they did not meet their sales expectations. And it's like, hey, it's the second part in the game. So typically a second part in the game doesn't do so hot, because you got people who never finished the first one. They're not going to pick up the second game. And a lot of people know they have to play the first one. And it's just like A, or B, like it's Rebirth. Like, yeah, like I don't know. Like you pick up a game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then there's Final Fantasy VII Remake. You're like, what's the difference between the two? So bad naming scheme in my opinion as well. But yeah, definitely give Romancing Saga 2 remake a try. I highly recommend it. Pretty decent. Any last thoughts or anything else that you guys want to bring up before we end the podcast?
I don't think so.
No, I pretty much talked about everything I talked about, just as far as like what I'm playing or whatever. Um, yeah, nothing else besides that really going on.
Gotcha. What about you, fan? Nothing?
Nope.
Why don't you tell everybody about your ROG ally?
Mm.
No, I mean I was supposed to get the Ally X yesterday, but because of the hurricane, everything got delayed. So I got it today. I'm gonna play in it a little bit, compare it with my ROG Ally that I already have. I mean I've seen reviews. There's a slight like 8 to 10% bump in performance, but
Has
I
good
think the
more
big
RAM.
more RAM is nice because you can allocate more to other things. But I think the big thing for me is battery life because
Big
I mean I
time.
love my Ally. I was playing it, but yeah, I was plugged to a wall. After an hour most of the time, so I always try and stay close to an outlet. Where with now I'll have double the battery, so I'll be able to move around a little bit more.
I do want
I've
an
been playing.
ROG
I
Ally
actually been
X.
playing the Ally as my 3DS. Because I've been doing that second screen, so now I can do it on the Ally X instead.
Nice.
Be fun.
I was so tempted to buy one when it was $700. Like I was like, oh man, then you get that $50 Total Tech gift certificate because they have a promotion right now where if you spend $500, you get $50 gift certificate, and it's just like, oh. But I didn't. Maybe if it goes on sale again, I'll pull the trigger. But it's just I have a Steam Deck OLED already, and it's just like, should I really have a second one? And it's like, yeah, you should. No, you shouldn't. And
You
the
should.
rest. So
More
you
is
should.
better.
Yeah,
Remember, more is better.
indeed, indeed.
Yeah, I want to pick up an ROG Ally X mainly for the games that are online, like Sparking Zero. Well, it doesn't run that great on Steam Deck. I've seen reviews and it doesn't, unfortunately. But from what I've heard on the ROG Ally X, it runs great. So that would be like a game I would want to play that on. And then of course, the limitations always of the Steam Deck is like online. So like a good game like Dragon Ball Fighters, for example, I would love to play that online on the Steam Deck, but I can't. In a lot of fighting games, I would prefer to play online because you want to do ranked. Surprisingly, Street Fighter you can, and I just don't understand why a lot of games are not. I don't know if it's like their anti cheat system or they're not updating it, but like Elden Ring you can do it. Street Fighter you can. And there's a few other games that you can play online and it works fine, but some games you can't. Like again, Dragon Ball Fighters is one. Xenoverse 2 is another one that you can't do. And I don't know what it is that they have to do. They have to, I guess, update it or do something to allow it to run on Linux. But hopefully soon. I did see an article somewhere where there's an update to Proton, and it might. No, I lie. It's Windows. So the way Windows is doing an update is they're not gonna allow like security protocols to be in the root now anymore, which is like on the main system of
Yep,
Windows itself,
read that.
which supposedly in theory will help out Linux users because now since they can't run natively like in root access, then in Linux it should be a lot easier to kind of get those games running online. So I've heard that it's a theory. We'll have to wait and see because whenever Windows makes that like a mandatory thing and you can't do stuff like that, I think that would help out for sure the Steam Deck itself in online gaming. That's the only downside I always say about the Steam Deck. Other than that, like kind of like Brian and everybody else, I love it. Oh, LED screen is
Mhm.
amazing. Great display. Anything that you really
OS
play on
is
it
nice.
is good. Yep, OS is nice and fluid. Like it just works. Very snappy, very quick. Yeah, pretty much all of that stuff. All right. Anything else? Nope. Nope.
I think
All right.
so.
Nope. Got nothing, man.
Sounds good. So that will end today's podcast. I will be trying to do a video this week. I'm hoping, according to Retroid, they should be shipping out the Retroid Pocket Minis, the 16-bit variant. Because I kind of looked in, I was doing some digging. I was like, man, they still haven't sent my unit. What's going on? And they sent out all the black units, but they haven't done any of the other colors. And the next what's the right word I'm looking for? Like the next, I guess, shipments
Iteration?
they're doing.
Shipment?
Yeah, the next shipments they're doing are going to be the 16-bit colorway, which is the one that I actually purchased. I feel bad for the people who had the Sega, I believe it was the Sega Saturn one that they did. Those are the last on the list, and they have to wait till like the end of October to receive theirs. But yeah, the 16-bit colorways should be next. So they said Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are when those shipments are going out. So hopefully, sometime this week, I will get an update on that. As far as the Ioneo goes, they said mid-October. This is the week of mid-October.
Jeez.
So I'm hoping that sometime this week my Ioneo Pocket Micro also shipped because I'm waiting for that. I also had the, what was it? The Retro Fighters GC Battle Pro, I think. It's basically a wireless GameCube controller that you can use on the actual GameCube, but you can also use it like on Nintendo Switch, on PC, and all this other stuff. I also have that coming, but they delayed that till like January. But they did say they're going to try to get shipments out by December, which more likely means I'll still get it on January regardless. So unfortunately, I was hoping for that to be here sooner rather than later, but that's going to be a video that I'll have to do sometime next year. And then the Retroid Pocket 5 comes out towards the end of this month. If it's anything like the Retroid Pocket Mini, I'm going to have to wait, of course, till sometime in November to receive that. But yeah, that's a quick update on all of those. I will have some videos on some other stuff available this week and, some other videos to kind of hold me over till I get those units in. And I am planning on buying I would say my final Switch controller accessory, because after this, I will not buy pretty much anything else for the Nintendo Switch, because we do know the new Switch should be sometime
It's
next
coming.
year. Yeah, so I don't want to buy anything else that I'm gonna have to get rid of. But this one is because I need something a little bit more ergonomic to play my Switch. I just can't hold it.
Ori's.
It's gonna be different. I don't want to do the Horus because everybody has that, so I'm gonna do something else. And I will do a review on those controllers once I get those in. But as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Also follow on Twitch, and if you also are viewing on Twitch and you do have Amazon Prime, feel free to use that Prime sub. It is free. It does help out the channel. Helps out with all the purchases of me buying all these handhelds and all these accessories and games that we have to talk about. So definitely go ahead and utilize that. Also share the channel. It does help out a lot as well. Fan, where can they catch you at?
Yeah, you can catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Phaneckswhy.
What about you, Bryant?
Red_so_deep on Twitter.
Nice. And as always, you can find me here at the Random Encounter, where we go ahead and we do have a podcast every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're not doing it Saturdays anymore. It's Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, as well as we do streams on Thursday and Friday. Thursday is typically our group stream. Friday, I do a solo stream, and I try to have a video out at least once a week on something. Depends on what's happening that week. Thanks for watching. My name is James. Thank you, Fan. Thank you, Bryant. We'll catch you guys next time.